Hi, guys. Welcome to Live Life with Jay. I am Jay Narvaez, financial educator and financial coach, and I'm just here to bring you all the gems that can help you along the way of your financial journey. So, one of the main things that I love to start with, especially in my coaching process and what to talk about to people, is mindset. And I feel like that mindset is so important for people who have money and just don't know how to manage it or how to shift their mindset from one way to another. And I just think that it plays an important role in that aspect. And obviously, mindset is not for everyone, especially, people with very low income or people who are dealing with systemic issues. So we make sure that you keep that in mind when we talk about mindset. Mindset is for people who have the means, right, financially, but they can't shift their mind to change things, to move on to the next level, to they just keep spending and spending and spending. Okay. And that's important to know before we get into this topic. So I do have a great special guest to hear from. I am super excited because I just think that affirmations and manifesting and all these things of, fixed mindset versus growth mindset and all these things come into play when you start working on your financial journey. So yes, keep that in mind and stay tuned so we can get started. By the way, I decided on no makeup today, and I don't know if that was the best choice. You could see all my flaws, but that's okay. So fresh, so clean, and don't judge me. Hi guys, welcome to Live Life with Jay. Today we have a special guest. Her name is Cyndi from Sublime Financial, and today she's just going to talk about different things about shifting mindset and limiting beliefs. Cyndi, can you tell us more about you and what you do?
Sure, absolutely. I'm super happy to be here. So my name is Cyndi from Sublime Financial Freedom, where we talk about cultivating a positive money mindset, helping women reach their own level of financial freedom. And in Sublime Financial Freedom, we talk about removing those limiting beliefs about money, removing those money blocks that are always keeping us stuck from reaching that ultimate level of wealth that we deserve. We also talk about manifesting money and attracting it with ease because we've always been told all our lives that, money's hard to come by and it's so difficult to attract money, but you can actually attract it with ease. And we can talk a little bit about how to do that. And also we talk about a little bit of personal finance strategies. That way, besides the manifesting, besides the shifting your mindset, you also have the confidence to take that aligned action. And I love the word align because it's in direct alignment with exactly where you want to be. Mm-hmm. So you're not overwhelmed with all of these different finance, things that come up, and there's so many different options out there. So it has to be aligned action. And I like it in that particular, in those particular steps. I like removing the limiting beliefs and then shifting your mindset to manifesting the money and then doing the aligned actions. So a little bit about me and my history and how I got out into this money mindset and finance world. I'm originally from the Dominican Republic and I was born there. Our family and we came to northern New Jersey when I was about 5 years old. I was very little. I didn't know any English. We just left everything and just came to this country with absolutely nothing. And we practically moved to the hood of northern New Jersey. We lived in cockroach-infested apartments. We lived in, very high crime, I call it a high crime, low vibe community, which, it was filled with people that had a lot of limiting beliefs about money. A lot of generational poverty, that was real. A lot of unfairness when it comes to what options we had as a community. We didn't have those options that the wealthy people in the next city had. We didn't have financial education. We didn't have any of that. So that's the kind of environment I was raised in, especially in my own household. There was a lot of negative beliefs about money. Not a lot of people had a good relationship with it. So I didn't grow up with a lot of that. And when I was in high school, like how I really got into all this, I didn't even know that college was an option. I didn't think it was an option. I saw people going to college in the movies, like not even in my community. In my community, if you graduated high school, you were like, that was like great, right?
Yeah.
Which is, it's, you know, it's not fair. You probably know about this. And I didn't know that college was an option because one time I had asked my parents, as I saw this in a movie, I'm like, hey, you know, college, it costs money to go to college. And I saw that people have these like money funds and, you know, like the 529 plans, the college saving funds, you know, do you have one for me? And then they pretty much looked at me like, no, sorry, we don't, because I know they were really, really trying their best. And yeah, and we were on welfare, but my parents, they were really doing their best, working hard, trying to give us, my brother and I, the best life. And we lived pretty comfortable for living in such an environment. So I knew that it was pretty much on my own. And I didn't know that college was even an option until I met up with a guidance counselor. She's like, hey, why haven't you applied to these colleges? Come on. I'm like, I can go, I have money. Where am I going to get the money from, right? And she's like, listen, there's different ways to pay for college. You can get loans. You can get like scholarship, especially someone like you know, living in a low income household, living, you know, a minority. People will practically throw money at you. Why are you not doing this? And that's what I ended up doing. I ended up getting this really awesome scholarship and getting loans, getting a bunch of loans. It was like $30,000 in loans and stuff like that, which is actually not that bad compared to, you know, the craziness of college nowadays. So, okay, so I'm going to college. Great. So what am I going to do for the rest of my life? You know, when you're that young, you have no idea what you're going to do. And there was a motivational speaker that came into my school, and you know, I always asked, I incorporate what she talked about into my teachings a lot. And she pretty much asked us, what is something in the world that you want to change? What is something that lights a fire under your butt? What is something that pisses you off? So I'm like, okay, I'm a teenager. I got stuff that pisses me off. Like, what pisses me off? And what came up is like my parents fighting. They're always fighting. I'm like so done with it, right? Maybe I should be like a therapist or something to help them out. But what are they fighting about? What are their conversations about? It's about money. The fights are always about money. And like, why? You know, people, they demonize money. You can't get money because you're afraid of losing it, or someone stealing it from you, or someone from, you know, the Dominican Republic asking for money because there's lots of problems anywhere. So you can't keep it. And if you don't have the money, it's like, it's a problem too. So is money good? Is money bad? But all these questions, it was such a complicated topic and no one knew how to manage it. So that's when I decided to dedicate my life to just strictly finance. I went to college for finance and financial planning. So it's like, okay, great. I have all the strategies that I will ever need and I'm going to be filthy rich, right? Like I had made it. I was fortunate enough, like really blessed to get a really good job in finance right after college. And that's when I moved to Philly, right? I moved to Philly. At that time, it was a really tough time because I moved to Philly all by myself. I didn't know anyone there. I had just got out of a really toxic marriage. So I was going through a divorce and I was going through a lot of anxiety. I had generalized anxiety disorder. I was addicted on my anti-anxiety pills. So I was trying to like clean myself and try to figure myself out. And it was at that time I realized, yeah, I have a great job in finance. I'm teaching people how to make money, but I'm not taking my own advice. I'm falling into the same mindset of the people in my old community, the ones that live in paycheck to paycheck, demonizing money, feeling like I'm not worthy. The imposter syndrome was real. I did not deserve money for any of that. And what I didn't know is I was repelling the money. And we'll talk about how that really happens. But at that time, it's like, okay, I need to change. What am I going to change? And that's when I started incorporating spirituality into my life. I started incorporating mindset work. I started doing the meditations. I started journaling. I went ham. At the same time, I started learning about law of attraction, which is one of the laws of the universe to attract money. But that's not the only one. You know, a lot of people, that's one of the most common ones, but people focus on it, especially, you know, mainstream. There's a book called The Secret. That's also a movie.
Mm-hmm.
So it's
I read it and watched. Yeah.
you saw that, right? Which gets a lot of backlash too, and I completely understand because they only touch about that one part of manifesting, which is the mindset piece and changing your mind. But what they fail to mention that there are other laws of the universe, like taking action. That's one of the laws.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? So I started learning about the law of attraction, and at the same time, I found the FIRE community, which we all know the FIRE community,
Yes.
Financial Independence, Retire Early. That was my jam. I ate that up.
It's the best thing, right? Like,
Yeah.
fines. I recently, probably the past couple years, I've been learning about it. So like, I didn't even know. I kind of was like upset I didn't know about that. So,
Right? It's like, I'm pretty sure that concept has been here forever, but this was only a few years ago for me too. And where has this been on my life?
yes.
Right? And I'm gonna be honest with you, getting really into FIRE, I thought that this was what I was going to do, but then I ended up being that there were a lot of things in FIRE that I kind of didn't align with where I wanted my life to be.
Mm-hmm.
I know there's different levels of FIRE and everyone kind of customizes, but like the really hardcore FIRE where, you have to like reduce your income, and some of the members, I don't know, that I'm not going to get into it, but FIRE, it felt like it wasn't, I can take parts from it, but I wasn't fully living the FIRE life. But what I did like about them was the introduction to the concept of financial freedom. Like, we have options now, right? We don't have to wait till we're 65 years old or 67 now, whatever the age is, or whatever the age will be for us to, retire. Like, who knows, right? Like, we have options. We don't have to depend on, Social Security, like so many people in our communities that they're depending on that to be their only source of income, and it hurts my soul.
Yes.
But yeah, that's how I was introduced to all of this. And once I started bringing the mindset portion into my personal finance strategies, because girl, I was a hot mess. I was living paycheck to paycheck. I had paid off my school loans, so I think this is where my spending addiction came from, because I don't have any, school loans. Let me just spend all my money. Even though I was making good money, I was spending it all. And it was all because of my mindset.
I also think too that when you grow up in like a low income neighborhood, that you feel like you've been limited for so long that when you do get that money coming in, you're like, I'm buying this, I'm spending it, it's my money, I finally have it. And then you have to get to the point where you're like, okay, reshift. Hold on, we got bigger goals to get to.
That's exactly what happened. I just went ham, and at that time I didn't even have goals. I was just living. I'm like, it's my 20s. I am newly single. Like, I'm gonna live my life.
So I came from very similar background in the sense of where I grew up. So I grew up in Hoboken, Jersey City, until about 7 years old. Then we moved to Philly. And when we moved to Philly, we moved into drug corner, roach infested homes. It was just like violence everywhere. It was like, for me, it was like a little culture shock coming from Jersey City to there, because I didn't see that over there. And then money fights at home. So I didn't realize until I learned I started my financial journey, that I was really pissed off that I didn't know all the other things. So I kind of like, when you said it, I felt it, because it upset me that it took for me to pick up somebody else's book at the age of, how old am I? I think it was 32 when I started. So it was like, it's sad. It was sad.
Yeah, no, absolutely. They really don't teach us that. And, I really wish that, financial literacy, it's getting better, but it's not quite where we want it to be. But I also feel like there should be also a mindset piece to that as well. Because I did notice that, I felt like I was proof that I had all of the technical knowledge there, but my mindset was so off. And after I changed that, that's when the magic happened. That's when I healed my spending addiction. When I tell you I had a spending addiction, I would go to like TJ Maxx and thrift stores every weekend, spend like $200-$300 a week, like mindless spending. And then it was stuff that I would buy because I'm someone that, I'm all for spending as long as it's mindfully and as long as you put in an intention towards what you want to buy. And as long as it's in alignment with your particular goal. But I was just buying stuff just to hoard.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? I was just hoarding stuff. And that also creates just stagnant energy. When you hoard anything, whether it's just stuff or whether it's money, that's actually another thing where if you want to save all this money, which is great. Like, it's beautiful that you want to save, but you also have to let a little bit go, because it's kind of like a river. And if you stop the spending like a dam, like the stuff is not going to go anywhere. It's not going to flow. So even if it's just investing in yourself, investing in the people around you, giving, that's a beautiful, beautiful way to help with that.
That's good. So, hey guys, I realized that we kept chatting away and it kind of was longer than expected, which is always expected because a lot of my videos, we just get into the topic and we just start talking. But I noticed that I'm going to split it up to part 1 and part 2. So you just finished watching part 1 and come join us next week for part 2.